Last night I had a movie date by myself. I went solo to a screening of The Equalizer 2, which is directed by Antoine Fuqua, and it stars Denzel Washington again. This is the very first sequel that Denzel has ever made, and that should tell you something because this guy has his pick of scripts and many filmmakers that want to work with him. He's an incredible actor. I didn't go with Johnny Millennium, so we're doing this as reviews on the run video in EP from the studio, so this is live. But I see Johnny is in our chat, so hello, Johnny. Missed you at the movie, and you missed a very good movie, my friend. The Equalizer 2 is great, and I'd heard some bad buzz about this thing. I think you don't want to see this movie if you haven't seen the first film. Basically, he plays a guy named Robert McCall, who's an ex-operative, CIA, military, very specific set of skills. He's another one in this long line of old guys that like to kick ass out there. It would be interesting to see a John Wick and Liam Neeson and Robert McCall kind of matchup out there. We could probably make some kind of Smash Brothers derivative of all these old guys fighting each other. But Robert McCall is, he's a badass, and he's got a little bit of an OCD issue. He's still grappling with a lot of grief because he's had people in his life that have passed away, and he just is a concerned citizen. And I love that in The Equalizer 2, and I don't remember if this was the case in the first movie, but he's a Lyft driver, and basically he eavesdrops on people's conversations on their telephones, and people tell him things, and every once in a while he gets involved and helps out people that have been wronged in some fashion, and I actually like that. It's a little bit like Batman eavesdropping on people's lives, and then he goes in and cleans things up, and he does things efficiently with as little exertion as possible. He's sort of the guy that has gone through every single confrontation imaginable. He knows how his opponents are going to come at him, and he has a way to deflect somebody's strike at him, or somebody will pull a gun on him or a knife on him. He knows how to deal with all of that stuff, and the way that he does it is just so slick and so efficient. He doesn't look like he's exerting himself tremendously, but he puts everybody down quickly, and so we see a little bit of that. And actually, my favorite parts of the movie wasn't so much the grander story that was being told, and it actually is framed in a pretty cool way, where we see some CIA friendlies are getting taken out, and there's a mystery to be solved there, and there's some people that are close to Robert McCall that sort of get embroiled in all of that, and I dug that. And it culminates in a very effective sequence, which I'm not going to spoil too much. I'll just say that there's a hurricane involved, and I can see that video game makers are probably going to take sequences from chunks of this movie and recreate them in video games for many, many years, because it was very effective and very cool. But I actually enjoyed all of these little bits and pieces of Robert McCall, Denzel Washington getting involved in regular people's lives and trying to help them, and trying to keep a young artist from getting involved with some street thugs and drugs and sort of gang violence and stuff like that. I like that. I like that he rescues a woman that's been abused by a bunch of douchebag dudes that are having a party in a hotel room that are super rich, and he takes them out in a very cool way. He helps this old guy that's been trying to solve a mystery in his life for a long time, and it's all done with a light touch and a human touch, and I think that's the secret of hiring Denzel Washington, who is an expert at simmering through his moments and not saying much. And you can see in his the way that he moves and his facial sort of reactions, what he's thinking and what he's feeling. But when he does deliver the monologue, or the heavy messages that are in this movie, because this is a guy that still lives with virtue, even though he's had a lot of heavy stuff happen to him, and he's could have turned to the dark side in a way. He's a guy that kind of knows right from wrong, and he just tries to help people, and even if he does sort of do that through really violent means, and he doesn't hesitate to take out people that are trying to take him out, there's still a light around him, and I just think that it's it's humanized by this incredible actor who is still at the top of his game. He's amazing in this. Pedro Pascal is also one of my favorite rising stars. That's still, I mean, he's quite well known already from Game of Thrones and Narcos and stuff, but he is great in everything that I see him in, and he's great in this. Melissa Leo, we've seen in tons of stuff before. She's also great in this. And Bill Pullman has a very human element in here as well, and he's great to see in this movie as well. I was really captivated by The Equalizer 2. I was very happy to see it. Maybe my expectations were low, and I was expecting it to go off the rails and be a total disappointment, but I wasn't disappointed. I liked it, and I think it stands up with the first movie, which I thought was pretty cool. Again, I didn't expect too much out of that, but you know, it's the Denzel factor. The guy is just so damn good. I'm going to give The Equalizer 2 an 8 out of 10, and I think you should see it.